Hey everybody, it's your girl, Kiki Marie. First, I want to thank everybody for the support, views, likes, comments, and new subscribers I've received. Thank you so much. The support I've received so far has been absolutely overwhelming, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much. Let's get into the DUI series, Investigation Open. It's DUI series with your girl, Kiki Marie. So first I want to say that the purpose of these videos, or the purpose of any of my videos, is now if someone walks away after watching a video and says that maybe they have more information than what they had before watching my videos, then I find that to be a success. In no way are my videos meant to encourage or allow anyone to circumvent consequences if they do drink and drive and face consequences, especially in the state of Florida. So let's get that clear. And 'tis the season. You guys want to be careful. It's December or at any time of the year. But you guys do want to make sure that if you guys are going to go out and drinking and having fun, you guys make sure you have a backup plan, have a designated driver, Lyft, taxi, Santa, Uber, friend, whoever. Just make sure you guys aren't out on the road drinking and driving with unlawful breath alcohol content. So that being said, let's get into it. So at least in terms of the state of Florida, it surprises a lot of people to find that it is not illegal to drink and drive in the state of Florida. I'll repeat that. It is not illegal to drink and drive in the state of Florida. It's only considered unlawful when your normal faculties are impaired by any intoxicant. So that could be alcohol, marijuana, prescription drugs, anything that can inhibit or distract or affect your normal faculties. In the state of Florida, by law, that's considered of having a breath alcohol content of 0.08 or higher. And that's also whether you're operating a motor vehicle with that unlawful breath alcohol content, or if you're in actual physical control of a vehicle. That means that you can be passed out, you could be asleep, you could be sitting behind the wheel of a non-moving vehicle. However, if you have your keys within your immediate area where you can just easily either put them in the ignition and start the car and get going, or if you're behind the driver's seat and you do have the keys within reach, that is considered being in actual physical control of the vehicle. So I do want everyone to know that you don't have to be physically operating the motor vehicle on any public or private roadway in the state of Florida. You can be stopped with your vehicle turned off, as long as you are in physical actual control. So if a deputy or an officer walks up and let's say you parked a car because you felt, wow, I did drink too much and I can't make it home. If you're sitting in the driver's side of your vehicle and your keys are in your immediate possession, whether let's say they're your lap, your cup holder, in the ignition but off, it doesn't matter. You still will be charged with, or an investigation will be opened into whether your normal faculties are impaired. So just remember that. That's what gets a lot of people. Now, when I talk about any of these laws, this is for anybody over the age of 21 who has just a regular driver's license. If you have a CDL, everything is different for you. The 0.08 does go down to 0.04. And if you are under the age of 21 or under the age of 18, all these are completely different for you. So when I am talking about DUI enforcement in the state of Florida, I am talking about anybody operating a motor vehicle with just your regular schmegular driver's license, non-CDL, and if you are over the age of 21. So just wanted to get that out of the way. I do have a very healthy skepticism and suspicion and nervousness of law enforcement. Don't trust them a lot of times. But I will say DUI is one of those crimes that I do believe for the most part is not one of those crimes that innocent people are being charged with. For the most part, if you are charged with a DUI in the state of Florida, usually it's because you have met those minimum standards, requirements needed for probable cause arrest in Florida. DUI is so highly fought in court. Everybody who gets one likes to fight it. And because of that, the standards and the operation and the investigation is set by law. So, why, the wording that the officers use, the field sobriety exercises, you can't use the word tests or exams, it has to be exercise. It has to be specific ones with specific wordings approved, where there's state laws, it's actually written in the laws, exactly what verbiage you can use. You can't omit any, you can't ad-lib, you can't add on, create, you have to go by the book. And for that, it could be very intimidating for your average Joe law enforcement officer, because you do have to know everything pretty much. Now, you can learn it. It takes a while. I quickly realized that I would be doing more DUI investigations than the average officer in my agency. I am an English and Spanish speaking person, so it was clear, because we don't, unfortunately, this agency didn't have sufficient amount of bilingual or non-English speaking other language deputies, that anytime there was an investigation involving someone whose either English was not advanced enough to understand the wording of DUI investigation, or if they just didn't understand English or were Spanish speakers, then I would be called to the scene, take over the investigation. So I learned quickly in field training that I need to figure out all the laws, all the paperwork, the policies, procedures in English and Spanish, and then that experience is what got me an invite onto the DUI squad or unit. Even though I still did patrol, on my off-duty time, I would get paid time and a half to do DUI enforcement because of a grant given to our agency by the state of Florida. So that was appreciated. Now, we're just kind of gonna get into kind of the basics of it. If you do find yourself pulled over and in a DUI investigation, the good news is if your normal faculties are not impaired by an intoxicant, I'm pretty sure you won't be charged with a DUI offense in the state of Florida. If you aren't sure, or if they are, then I would really consider cooperating in any investigation. Investigation of a DUI starts the moment a deputy or an officer comes in contact with the vehicle, whether it's driving down the road and observing the driving patterns, or if maybe they're working an off duty or coming out of a store and someone says, hey, I think there might be someone over in that vehicle who's either having a medical emergency or possibly is under the influence of an intoxicant. So you do want to be aware of that. The first thing that an officer has to justify in a DUI investigation is, why did you come on contact, or why did you happen to have contact with that particular vehicle driven by that individual? Was it their driving pattern? Was it the way they were stopped in the roadway? Was it a traffic accident? Did a concerned caller contact and say, I'm behind somebody? Now, what helped me as a law enforcement officer in terms of conviction rates with my cases, excuse me, was I wouldn't assume intoxication. I would immediately, if I did see maybe a vehicle following those normal patterns that we see, DUI officers know that someone who is under the influence of alcohol or an intoxicant, they tend to drive slower on the road. There's the failure to maintain lane. Now, what a lot of officers have gotten in trouble for is they'll see vehicles swerving within the lane, and they will go, wow, they're failure to maintain lane. And those cases have been thrown out, even if the person falls out drunk and admits it and is shotgunning beers during the investigation. You have officers that if they stop a vehicle and that vehicle does not break the fog line or the center lane, I mean, you have the whole girth of that lane, usually about 11, 12 feet of a lane. You're going to attract the attention of law enforcement and other drivers, so I wouldn't suggest it. But you do lawfully and legally, you can, as long as you don't break that fog line or center lane, you can take up the whole space. You can go back and forth as long as your tire does not cross either of those barriers. Then you are not breaking any law or any traffic rules. Now, it might look suspicious, and you're just going to get the attention of law enforcement. So I suggest you just don't do that. But DUI investigation does start the moment you do come in contact with that vehicle and start observing it, and you have to justify that stop. So the investigation has already begun before lights have been activated in most cases. So I want you to remember that. If you do find yourself in that position, and if you are under the influence or unlawful and you know it, my advice is pretty much don't cooperate with any investigation, because at that point it's just being recorded. It's going to be documented. It's going to be harder for you to face in court. A lot of times you might want to just politely decline if you do know that you are over the legal limit. If you know, and most people do know, whether you are past that legal realm and now driving unlawfully, I would just suggest zip it, ask for an attorney. They're going to say you don't deserve one, and you're just going to not cooperate any further. Take the ride, call an attorney, don't answer any further questions, and then fight it in court. Next video, we're going to get into actual stops. So once, what happens, okay, now I've found some suspicious or driving patterns that I am now justified in making a lawful traffic stop. So what goes on from there, and how all of this ties into every little thing will go into eventually the report that goes into your DUI charge, and how every little thing can either just aid in the investigation and show that, yep, I am on the right path right here. This person it probably does have an unlawful breath alcohol content, or normal faculties are impaired. That's when you start getting into the field sobriety exercises. And then whether from there an arrest is either made or not. So you guys stay tuned. I appreciate this video went a little longer than I thought, but I appreciate all the love, support. You guys like, comment, subscribe down below. Again, it's your girl Kiki Marie. Thank you all so much for all the support. You guys be careful out there. See ya.